Hey friends, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. It is Sat Chat time, so if you are landing on this video randomly, it's probably not the video for you. It is just a weekly catch-up fireside chat, space heater side chat that I started at the beginning of the pandemic and people seem to enjoy. So, yeah, basically just a chit chat about what's been going on over the past week. I invite you to visit in the comments down below. Let us know what you've been up to. Let us know what you've been working on. I really have had pretty much of a calm week this week. I've been puttering around a lot. I've got a table full of cards in progress and watercolor experiments and just different products and different palettes out that I've been playing with, because I think every once in a while, the last probably about 5 weeks, I've been really focused on getting ready for the National Arts Educators Association trade show in New York next month. So I've been getting ready for that. I'm going to be demoing for Derwent. And so I got everything done by my deadline of Monday that I needed to have by that amount of time. There was like 12 projects and I got 4 more to do, but I'm going to work on them next week. They were kind of added on to the end, so I was taking this week and just kind of puttering around, refilling palettes, just kind of creatively playing with different products, because I think you need to do that. You need to fill your creative buckets, because if you keep taking and taking and taking, you're gonna have an empty bucket, and then that's when you get burned out. So so I don't have a ton of stuff to show. I mean, I'm actually working on some Valentine's cards that I'll probably post on Monday, which is Valentine's Day, which is like, yeah, probably not the most useful time to post a Valentine's tutorial, except it's not really a Valentine's tutorial. You can use these techniques for whatever type of cards. I just happen to be making some Valentine's cards. So planning on finishing that up this afternoon so I can get them in the mail. And as far as new projects, this illustration of, this is my neighbor's puppy. Let's see, if I hold it like that, I think the camera will focus. So this little puppy dog, my neighbor posted the photo to Facebook, and I said, oh my gosh, can I use that as a reference photo? And she said that I could, and so I'm actually gonna give her that picture. I'm gonna drop it off probably in a couple of days. But I wanted to have it here for the Sat Chat. The real-time version of that is up in Critique Club if you want to draw and color along with me. And I will post a time-lapse of it on Sunday here on YouTube, so that'll be tomorrow. Sketchbook Sunday. I know I've been like really random about when I've been posting my time-lapses. I used to post a time-lapse every Sunday, but it's been, my schedule's been a little crazy the last couple months. So sometimes you get a Sketchbook Wednesday. It's a surprise. It's always something different. And we just posted a Frugal Friday yesterday, and this was kind of one of these videos. It's like, I'm not sure if this is good advice or not, but it is kind of it's a way that I'm making use of a watercolor tube that I otherwise wouldn't have, because I was just kind of frustrated with the color. I liked the texture of it. It was a Renaissance Potter's Pink. I liked the texture of it. I liked the color of it, but I thought it was a little almost too weak, and it had a little too much binder, so it was kind of glossy when it dried, and I didn't like that. So so I found a way to use it. I actually had 2 tubes of it because it was one of the colors I was sent to try out, and then the Renaissance company actually sent me the full line of tubes, so I ended up with 2 tubes of that color. So I did feel a little bit of license to play with that extra tube. So apologize for the extra noise. I thought I was sneaking down here to record before anybody was going to be taking a shower or anything, but apparently I miscalculated that. I actually don't have a ton to discuss this week because, like I said, I've just been kind of puttering around and playing with product, and I can show you a card I've got. I've just got some cards in the works. So when I was doing the kind of figuring out what I wanted to do with that Potter's Pink that I showed you in the Frugal Friday yesterday, I ended up like just kind of swatching out different colors. I would add a little bit of this color, swatch it out, and I kept like experimenting with it, and then I had 2 sheets of just like swatchy paint. This is one of my favorite. This is probably my favorite example. This, like the texture here on this heart. So I had like a couple of pages of watercolor paper with just different swipes of the different shades of pink I was working with. So I actually just die cut those into some hearts, just whatever generic heart dies I had, and I was using those on the card, so that's over there. The reason I wanted to do some card making is because I finally got my Papercraft Society box. Now I had the dies and stamps and stuff like that I received piecemeal for the box I designed, but I did an unboxing this week, so I'm like, yay, I can finally show people. They have it in stock at Craft Stash. People can buy just the one box if they didn't want to be a Papercraft Society subscriber, because that went out to subscribers like back in the end of November. And unfortunately, I posted my unboxing, and then it sold out that day. And so I contacted the company to see if they're going to make more, because I mean, if that sold out that quick, I mean, obviously people want them, and there's like a little notify me when back in stock form on the page, which people told me they filled out, and the person at Papercraft said that no, we don't reorder the boxes. And it's like, well, why do you have that form on there? Why do you say notify me if you're never going to have it back in? And it just is frustrating. So I was a little frustrated with that. I mean, I knew when I designed it that it was going to be a subscription box, and generally when you design a subscription box for somebody, you know, it's kind of one and done. So I kind of knew that, but it's also kind of like, well, that's a bummer, because other people wanted that and now they can't get it, and I really don't feel like I have it in me to do another one. It was so much work, oh my word. But so I was kind of a little bummed out about that, and then that led me kind of down a rabbit hole about other things I was kind of irritated about this week. But I thought, no, that's its own topic. So I was kind of complaining to my husband about some different things that I've purchased that had changed. You know, when you love a product, whether it is a food product or makeup or art supplies, and you go to rebuy it and it's completely different. So I kind of had that situation happen a few times this week. Nothing to do with Papercraft Society. It's completely another thing. But I was finding that super frustrating, and Jason's like, that should be its own video. Save it for the video. Like, I don't want to hear you whining about watercolor paint, Lindsay. Save it for the video. Don't waste all the good material here on me. So yeah, I think I'm gonna film a video about that, because you know what it is, the thing that bugs me, and I'm sure that other art supply reviewers, or actually reviewers of any type of products, it doesn't have to be art supplies, I'm sure this aggravates reviewers of any different type of products, whether they are a YouTube reviewer, a magazine reviewer, a newspaper reviewer, is that a product can change. You know, you get a product, you buy a product, you get sent a product, and you test it out and review it. It's great, it's wonderful, and then like 6 months down the road, people are telling you this product is junk. I just bought it because I saw your review and it's terrible, it's awful, and you're like, what happened? This doesn't sound anything like the product that I bought. This doesn't sound like anything like the product I reviewed. What's going on? And it's because brands change. But I'm noticing it so much, and even like brands that aren't like the cheapo generic Amazon brands that are sold in actual art supply company stores that you expect to have a certain level of quality. I mean, like, I take a gamble. I'll take a gamble on something from Amazon. You know, if I think it looks like something that would be good, I'll take a gamble. I'll risk my, you know, 20, 30 bucks so you don't have to. And sometimes we find a gem, sometimes we find a dud. That's how it goes. But I'm always curious. I love it when people review these, you know, cheap, weird sets from Amazon, because, you know, it stifles my curiosity, so I don't want to go out and order them. Or maybe it sells me on it, but generally it stifles my curiosity. It's fun. It's fun to find out about different products, but it's super frustrating when like I just bought a tube of paint because I had used up a pan that came in a set, and I wanted a certain website, and the tube was a better value, same pigment number as the pan, so I ordered a tube. It was actually also a color that was recommended by another YouTuber who I thought, well, this person's kind of picky, so I could trust it. And then I swatched the colors side by side. The tube is chalky and not even the same pigment number that it said it was on the website, so I was aggravated. I sent an email to customer service. So I'm gonna see how it's I mean, and then again, I'm thinking, well, my being petty, it wasn't that expensive, you know? But then again, it's like, I ordered this one thing because I wanted this color that is the same as the color I previously purchased, you know? It's like, I don't think that's too much to ask. So, so I think that does need its own video. It's kind of like a buyer beware. And I've said this before on, like, anytime I've reviewed like budget supplies, that if you are considering this product and you're watching this video in the future, look at the most recent reviews on Amazon, because products change. Companies use different suppliers. And I can understand with budget companies that aren't making their own supplies, I can understand that. Like, they went to factory A and they're trying to reorder the color pencils, and like with Arteza. So they came out with when their stuff first came out, it was really inexpensive. It was like they were trying to get those products into everybody's hands. So prices were really low. It was a great value, and they were pretty good. And then and the prices started to go up, and then they started just using different products. It's like, so I had their old set of 72 colored pencils, and if you added water to them, they moved, but it didn't really bother me. They weren't like as soluble as their watercolor pencils. Watercolor pencils are great, really like both of them. For the price, which was very low at that time, then they got more expensive. And they came out with a 120 set, and they sent me that to review. And I liked those pencils better. They didn't move at all with water. They were very water resistant. I'm like, oh, this is an improvement. That's great. Okay, I can see why the price went up. And then I was hearing people saying, these pencils are awful. I got them. They bled. They moved with water. They just are not like and it was just not even the same product. So I mean, I tested my products, both versions that I had, and they both were different than what these people were saying the brand new ones were coming out. And I was like, well, okay, so they're a company that doesn't make their own products. They have to source it from different factories. Probably factory A had to shut down because of COVID, and they had to order it from somebody else. I don't know. So I could kind of understand that with a newer company that doesn't have their own factories. But when you're looking at like companies that have been around for 100 years that have their own factories, what's going on? And then sometimes I wonder, are there different grades made? Like if you're buying this, say it's like a German company's watercolor, and you're buying that in Europe, are you getting a different paint than that paint sold in America under like from a big box art supply store? So so I'll be really curious to see how that see how my customer service email, because I just sent a blanket, just like a customer. I just sent it to the generic customer service mailbox. I didn't reach out to any of my contacts at the store. I'm like, I want to know how this is handled as a Joe Schmo everyday customer is that inquiring a product, not like potential somebody who's going to do a YouTube video is requiring like inquiring about a product. So so I'm curious to see how that is, because you know it's really hard to see how customer service, like for instance Paul Rubens, like their watercolors, I purchased them and on Amazon, and I've also had someone sent to review. When I purchased them on Amazon, I get like an email from their customer service, like how, like a couple days later, how's it going? Is everything okay? You know, if you have any problems, please let us know. We'll be happy to make anything right. You know, it's not the same people that contact me as a YouTuber, you know? So it's like, well, that's great, because I can see their customer service is great. The one time I did have an issue with a color, which I believe was mislabeled in my thing. They sent out a replacement, and they actually sent me their replacement was going to take a while, so they sent me just a complimentary pan of color, just, you know, thanks for waiting, basically. So it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. So it's kind of nice to see it from both sides. I don't always get to see it from both sides. So anyway, I'm going to do a video on that, or probably like one of those like opinion Wednesdays. I don't know. Sometimes I just throw in like just somebody calls it an extra and a bonus sat chat, but it's just kind of like if there's a topic that I feel like I need to discuss, like, you know, companies exploiting designers, or, you know, how the craft industry is like fast fashion, you know, just one of those kind of off the cuff topics that I've been thinking about. You know, I was thinking about something today, though, or yesterday actually. I think it's really weird how many watercolor companies use a Griffin as a mascot. Have you ever noticed that? Like, a Griffin, that's not a common, like, logo or, like, fantasy animal, right? It's like half lion, half eagle or something, right? A Griffin. Winsor Newton, their mascot is a Griffin. Da Vinci, well, and I didn't even realize Da Vinci was, but I was, like, looking at this tube of watercolors, and I have all my Da Vinci tubes out, because I was thinking about doing kind of like a, let's look at this brand again, you know, because a lot of my, well, hold on, we'll get back to that. Anyway, they use a Griffin, and Renaissance out of Poland uses a Griffin for their logo. And they're all very similar looking. They all look like almost the exact same Griffin, like there's some, like, you know, stock photo, public domain logo database, and there's like a Griffin on it, and these companies, and there's probably more, but those three jumped out because like the layout, or like the way the Griffin is posed is like almost identical in each three of those brands. So the only thing I can think of is that they're trying to like make people associate their watercolors with Winsor Newton. Maybe I'm wrong, but that, I just thought that was kind of weird. Why would these three companies use a Griffin on their paints. You know, it's just kind of weird. Winsor & Newton's been around a long time, so I would assume they were first. These other two companies are a little bit newer. But so anyway, Da Vinci paints. I used to buy Da Vinci paints because, did you see how big that tube was? Oh my word. So this is their watercolor paint. These are all personally purchased. Oh, I'll get this one. This is my newest tube. It's burnt sienna, 37 mLs, and that's watercolor. So back in the day, before, you know, we'd all shop online, I used to subscribe to the Artist magazine, and watercolor, was it Watercolor Magic? I can't remember. There was a few from F&W or Northlight. I think it was F&W publications. They would publish like Pastel Journal, I think, a bunch of different art magazines, and I would subscribe to Watercolor Magic, I think, and the Artist magazine, and they'd always have these ads. I can't believe that's still going. I hope that's not really loud. So I would subscribe to these different magazines, and there would be offers in the magazines for like paintbrushes or watercolors or different things like that. And generally, there were companies that wanted to get a new line of products out in people's hands, so that they can hopefully, you know, get product placement in stores and whatnot. Because, you know, if an artist loves a product and they ask their local art supply store, would you carry this line? So that was kind of like a way they would advertise and market. So like that's how I got to know about Royal and Langnickel brushes, like the Majestic and Aqualon brushes. That's how I got to know about my Mary Blue paints, which I only have a few tubes that I bought through those magazine deals. But those magazine deals would be awesome. So there was one, and I think it was like a split primary mixing set of Da Vinci paints in those honkin' 37 ml tubes, and I think it was like about $40 for 6 of those 37 ml tubes. And you know, for a while there, I think like prices of art supplies, they were always way up here, and then like the catalogs came along and they started to dip and then level off, and now they're going sky high again. But so that was a great deal for that quality paint for that amount. I was teaching both at the senior center, and I had my own studio downtown, so I was going through paint, and it was a great value. And so I bought that set like several times out of the back of the magazines, and it had like a warm and cool red, blue, and yellow. And then I think I picked up a few tubes, or maybe there was another set of 3 or something. I don't know, because I have like 9 colors, and I just recently bought the burnt sienna from Blick, I think. But so I was thinking, oh, that'd be fun. Let's revisit some of these old favorites like M. Graham and like stuff I never reviewed because I've been using them much longer than I've been on YouTube. So I was thinking about that. I'm like, well, that might be kind of fun. Like, you know, I've got so many high-end color pencils and stuff I could review, but I haven't because I've had them for so long. And then part of me wonders, it's like, could they have changed significantly since I purchased mine way back in the day to now? And if I reviewed them, is that the same product that people are going to be getting? And that's really one of the things that have given me pause about reviewing some of those. And I don't want to go and rebuy these supplies that I already have. I mean, that's foolish. I just can't. Yeah, I mean, I might buy a tube of painters. Like M. Graham has been pretty consistent. I'll buy like tubes to replenish what I have, or maybe a new color to try. So, and I found them to be very consistent, although their formulas have changed a little bit. I noticed like the sap green has changed over the years, their formulation for sap green, and I'm sure other colors too, because prior to YouTube, I really didn't get into the pigment. Like, I mean, I would be just aware to make sure I was getting like if I was buying cadmium yellow, I want to make sure I was getting cadmium yellow and not like a hue, in case it wasn't disclosed on the label. But other than that, and like rare pigments, I didn't really know. I knew the basics, and that was it. So that's something that's definitely made me concerned that if I did a review of a product that, you know, I've used, that I would be biased, because it's like Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s. I have been using them since like the late 90s. I love that product. It would be very difficult for me not to be biased and heavily favor it, especially where I've used so many like cheaper versions of watercolor crayons and gel crayons and stuff, that it would be very easy to overpraise it, overhype it, just because it is such a wonderful quality. And then it's like, I'm assuming the quality is the same now. I mean, I've bought a few open stock sticks over the years. It doesn't seem like it's changed at all, but I wonder if like just the long time use and love of these products might make me be favorably biased. So it's a couple, and I don't know if things have changed. I don't know if formulations has changed. It was funny, like I got a new set of Derwent watercolor pencils and that I have then set from the 90s, and I did compare them. And I found them to be comparable in quality. A couple colors are a little different than they used to be. Nothing like that I would say, oh, these are better or these are worse. They're just a little different. Like probably a pigment went extinct, or when, manufacturers stopped making certain pigments and they had to substitute. I'm sure that's what it is. And, we all know that happens. Usually companies will, I would say, exploit the fact that a pigment is going rare. Like Daniel Smith when quinacridone gold, when the factory stopped making that because the auto industry didn't need that color anymore, they bought up the stocks, and then I think they kind of marketed it to the fact that people kind of binge bought that color because they were afraid of running out of it. But like sometimes companies change pigments and they don't say anything. They change a formula, they don't say anything. And that's kind of problematic when a color change. Well, I can show you. Look, I've got the swatch here. Maybe you can even see it on screen, but I'm just going to hold my finger over the brand name until I find out how their customer service is gonna treat me here. But so this is the old version. Let me turn that down a little bit. Okay, this is the old version, which is a PB50. This is the new version, which is a PB28. Now I have PB28 cobalt teals, cobalt turquoises from other companies that look more like that, not exactly, but they're more clean. They don't have that kind of sludgy, chalky filler in there, and they're just more vibrant. So this is what the website said it was, PG50. This is what I got. This looks like what I would get in a budget set. This is what I would get as like cobalt teal from Superior or whatever inexpensive brand is using that. Superior to make their paints. That's what it looks like. It looks like a Superior color. And I don't say Superior meaning it's better. I mean, Superior is a brand that makes colors. Another thing I've noticed is older Superior paints just from a couple of years ago don't have that flaking and cracking issue that the newer ones do increasingly. So things are changing. And of course, I'm just speculating because I don't work for any of these companies, but it does seem like things are being diluted or stretched or something. It's just becoming frustrating because people are buying things now, but they're looking at old reviews, and it kind of makes us look like we don't know what we're talking about, I feel like a screen needs to come up in front of any review saying that this review was filmed on blah, 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 blah. If you're buying this, check recent Amazon reviews because things could change. And honestly, that's the best thing to do if you're going to buy a supply. Look at the most recent reviews, because if you see that, there was, Pecos colored pencils. They were, I got them wow, these are pretty good. I did some artwork with it. I really like the artwork I did with it. And then when I posted my review on Amazon. I can't remember if I posted an Amazon review, but I did a YouTube review anyway. And then it was 6 months later, and I saw another reviewer on YouTube saying, these are awful. I'm not even reviewing these. These are terrible. And I was like, are they even the same pencils? So I went to Amazon and I looked at most recent reviews, and the most recent 10 were just terrible reviews. And then you get about 6 months prior, and all the reviews are glowing. So it's like they changed their product, and I see that so frequently with art supplies. And sometimes, and something else I've noticed is that sometimes companies they'll use that same listing, but they will put a different product in there, and somebody will be reviewing something. It's like, that's not even the product they're showing, it's like, I don't even know how that works, how Amazon sellers work. They must, I don't know, maybe they've got a popular listing, so they don't want to make a new one. I don't know how that works, but anyway, it's something that's been on my mind. That's been kind of annoying. But yeah, but overall it's been a very kind of puttery week, just kind of playing with different supplies. And I spent a day kind of it was sunny. Oh my gosh. We've had weather in the 30s, and I'm telling you, when you've been having below zero temperatures and the sun comes out and it's in the 30s, I mean, you are looking for the sunscreen. You are like, where are my sunglasses? I need to go outside. You're just lured outside. It's crazy. It feels like spring. And so taking extra walks, just wanting to be upstairs instead of in the basement because I want to see the sun streaming in. And of course you see the sun streaming, and then you're seeing all the dust on everything because you've been neglecting it while you've been working and hiding in the basement. So I'm as Wednesday, I just ended up doing a bunch of cleaning. I went to the grocery store because Jason does most of the grocery shopping. but we buy different things, and I'm terrible about making a list. I need to go and see what there is, what looks good, and get inspired by what I see. And when like Jason's like, I'm going to the grocery store, what do you need? I'm like, I can't think of food. I can't think of items that we need. You know, it's like I need to go and see it. So I'm like, I should do a grocery run, and I just felt like being amongst the sunlight. And it's definitely lured me out of the studio a lot this week because, you know, I mean, it's so funny how we get used to cold weather and then it's like 35. Oh, where's the copper tone? You know, where are my sunglasses? Oh my gosh, I need my spring coat. But, so yeah, that definitely puts a damper on the productivity. I did work on this. Actually, this was just really quick because like I said, I was playing with supplies and I took those Da Vinci watercolors and I didn't do a drawing. I just kind of like started splashing them on paper. I was thinking, oh, what would be a Valentine's project I could do? And I was thinking, oh, lovebirds. And then but I wasn't really like, I did turn the camera on to film it, but I wasn't really like thinking, oh, this is definitely going to be a project. I was just playing. And then I after dried, I added some paint to it. I was like, wow, these paints are really nice. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. This is no pressure. But so a lot of that. What was another thing I was working? Oh, this I was trying to see if maybe that paint would be useful, and I was just kind of like, this is just, I'm going to do more to it. This was just playing around with also a new brush that I bought. So yeah, I'm going to play with the brush a little bit more before I give an opinion on it. But anyway, I was just kind of playing with that, and yeah, it's just kind of sitting there like a bump on a log. I'm not very impressed with that paint because it's just kind of sitting there, not doing anything. Other colors, I have some Renaissance, I think it's ultramarine violet, which is beautifully granulating and doing wonderful things, but that cobalt teal is just sitting there like bump on a log. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I'm really curious to see what their customer service is going to be like. So, which, I mean, I would assume would be good. I've shopped with this company for a decade, so we'll see. But I don't think I've ever really had an issue where a product has come and has not been what it stated on the website. So I was feeling somebody changed the formula and it didn't get updated on the website, but still, it's like the quality is really different. It's not just the formula. And that just kind of made me think, is this paint, like, is it kind of like a crappier version made for the American market where it's going to be discounted, and like the German market has a really awesome version of it? The European market has a really awesome version of it? Or is it just like I don't know, they're just kind of cutting corners and seeing what they can get away with? I don't know. But I have been noticing like a decline in quality lately in some art supplies. So I'm just trying to kind of figure it out, I guess. Makes me not want to buy new stuff. Definitely makes me want to use what I have because I think it's better than what I can buy. And maybe that's encouraging to you as well. If you're on a no-buy using what you have, you know. Oh, of course, don't hoard it because you're like, oh, they're making crap now. I better hoard this. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just have fun. Your supplies are there to be used and enjoyed. But that's all I have for this week. I talked about nothing for 28 minutes again. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're having a great weekend. Hope it's warm where you are and you can put that copper tone on and go out and catch some rays. And till next time, happy crafting. Bye.